Hello, hello, hello. It is me, A Fox of the Angela Foxworth Show, and it is Fantastic Friday. You know what? Actually, it's Foxy Friday. Okay, for A Fox. I need to coin that.
I love it.
We're going to have a fabulous Foxy Friday today. I am so glad you guys are here with us. Listen, to my guest, I am absolutely honored to have you on my show tonight. I am so excited. I know that the conversation is going to be rich. And I am excited because, we are in tumultuous times in the world. You hear a lot of negativity, things going on. And I kid you not, it is so refreshing to switch it up a little bit, for us to have a little fun and talk about some things that I'm sure we haven't really talked about in a long, long time, for at least for me in my show. And it is relationships and everything that entails, from knowing who you are, from knowing how to communicate. So I love it. So without further ado, and I'm going to read this exactly as it was sent to me. So I'm honored to have Renee Miller, MBA, PCC, CEO, founder, certified coach, author, speaker, and visionary behind Remember Who You Are Enterprises, Inc. and the Love Camp. That's really what got me going. The Love Camp. It's all about the love. Listen, God said faith, hope, love. These three. But the greatest is the love, right?
Indeed.
So I am so excited to start this conversation with you, because I tell you what, that we're talking about divorce rates right now, and I'm just even going to specify what I heard the other day. Just in the church alone, which is supposed to
Yes.
be where your solid relationships are, 67% divorce rate, and that has remained excelling for quite some time now. So
Yeah.
when I talk about, okay, something missing, the love, commitment, whatever the case may be. So I always like to go back. I go back to the beginning with everybody, because when you birth something that is so critical, which I'm sure even when the timing, like even the timing of now, to know, remember who you are, that is critical and that is powerful, especially in a time where uh we're lovers of ourselves. Everybody is so self-absorbed now. We live in a microwave world. We want all of the things that we think are going to give us satisfaction, and a lot of times we do think that things, some kind of tangible, is going to make us feel good. But remembering and knowing who you are, that's foundational, and that's actually something that a lot of people are not blessed to have that in the beginning. Usually you have to develop to that. So I want to know, like, where did you start? How were you growing up that this was instilled in you, that it ended up becoming I'm not even going to say a career, I'm going to say a movement, because it is a movement.
First of all, I love that. Second of all, thank you for having me and thank you for this topic. So, you know what? Honestly, and I love this so honest, authentic conversation. So,
Yes.
I honestly did not have it instilled in me. I
Wow.
grew up
Okay.
very rough, didn't feel loved, didn't feel
Oh,
seen, didn't feel appreciated, and really
mhm.
didn't understand what self-love could even look like. But
Wow.
for me, because I was always a thinker and
Hmm.
I feel like I was in love with love before I really knew exactly what it was. I just knew
Yeah.
what I wanted to feel. And when I say love, in love with love, I don't necessarily mean the romantic part of love.
Right.
I just mean
Right.
I had to find a way to make sure that I did not become bitter, angry. I didn't let my pain dictate how I showed up. And
I love
honestly,
it.
when I look back, I think that was God because I
Man.
didn't have like anybody sitting me down saying, listen,
Yes.
we know, poverty is real. We know you didn't feel connected to your mom. We know that you didn't really feel connected to your father. We know that your community stressed you out. We knew all of this, but I didn't have
Yes.
anybody sitting me down saying, let me tell you what you need to hold on to. Let me tell you how
Right.
you need to be thinking. But I think intuitively, I just felt like love was an important part of what I needed, even when I
Mhm.
was in pain, even when I felt
Man.
invisible. And so, yeah, I think, I really think it was the creator just walking with me.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And let me tell you why I love that even more, because it does provide hope. One of the things that I talk about on my show is that I always want this show to be about inspiration, motivation, and education, right?
I
And one
love
of the things that I, expound on is the fact that we can be resilient. See, people use the misuse of love from excuses that they've never overcome their past. So
that.
I love that your journey did not start here, because people that feel like that's not relatable, well, now they see it is. See, you can't always say it's how, like, I didn't have my father. I had sexual trauma growing up. As
Mhm.
a little girl, I had abuse. Um, as a little girl from 6 to 15, and I always like positively, I don't know, like you said, it just had to be God before I knew who God was for me. I didn't grow
Right.
up in the church. My mom, I think, really, I got my butt in trouble, and at 15 she was like, "Oh, we need to go to some church, because I think we somehow the Holy Spirit need to come into this heathen." That's really how it went down. I'm just being honest.
I
But
love that authenticity.
so, with that being said, I just think that it was innate in me to know that there just had to be something more positive. No
Right,
matter how dark things were for me
right,
in life,
right,
I always just knew there had to be positive.
right.
And I almost had like this rebellion about you telling me that I've got to stay here. Like, this is the only thing in life that I'm able to do. So I can't get past this trauma. My dad wasn't in my life. You know what I mean? So it's easier to make excuses, but at the end of the day, you have to want what it is you're trying to strive for. If
Agreed.
you want peace, like they say, faith without works is dead, then you've got to find peace, because you got to walk into it and then allow God to do everything else. So when you got to this point that, you kind of knew innately, how did this start to become a journey for you?
So for me, I felt like I needed to create what I was craving. And I
Oh,
needed to create it in my environment. Like, I'm one of those people that was craving love. Like,
yeah.
I really wanted to have a relationship with feeling loved,
Hmm.
being loving, being someone who walked in a state of love. I didn't know how to do that. And so for
Yeah.
me, I just started finding ways to bring people together to talk about it, or to match make, or to talk
Oh.
about healing, or to talk, like, it was a natural way of being. I didn't
Hmm.
know it at the time, but I look back and now I was like, I was really trying to save myself by helping what I thought was an example of what it could look like, what it could feel
Yes.
like. And I felt like if I
Yes.
had more people around me that were healed, more people around me that were talking about, more people that were happier, like,
Mm.
I'll be the first to tell you, I used to be the queen of matchmaking my friends with people. If I met somebody and they didn't work out for me, like, we might have dated once or twice, and I was like, that's a good guy, that's a good brother. Let me tell you who I know. Let me meet so and so. You want me so and so?
I
So
love it.
when I think about it holistically, I was
Hmm.
really trying to create a world of love that I only sensed could exist. And
Yeah.
so I always say I was in love with love before I knew what to do with it. And that was because I was trying to create more of it in my own life by
Yeah.
giving it out, by encouraging it, by seeing it, by talking about the things that blocked it. And so it
Yeah.
just morphed into this way of being. But I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to help people.
You was just going with the flow.
Yeah. And I was trying to walk in a state of love, but I
Mhm.
didn't know that I was walking in the state. I
So
was
let
seeing
me ask you
something and
this.
didn't have the
When
mirror
you
to
when
create it.
you dated, did you, like, how was your dating life? Did you find it challenging for you, or were you just so in tune with the fact that that's what you wanted for yourself, you were going to do whatever it took to make it work?
Girl, no, I wish that was the case. No, not no. I was a hot mess when I was dating. So I used to be a serial dater, and the truth of
Okay.
the matter is, I was a serial dater when my
Hmm.
mother was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it was
Oh,
terminal. So I
oh,
was spacey and batty
yeah.
and craving, and and not the unhealthy kind. Like I tell people,
Yeah.
really, you got to know what season you're in. And when you're in a
Mhm.
season where you really should be in your symbolic winter healing, working on you, getting to know you,
Yeah.
being honest about your grief, you don't need to be out there looking for love because you're going to attract all the wrong things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
initially, I was attracting a mixture, but who I was attracting was a direct reflection of my state of mind, and it fluctuated.
Okay.
Sometimes it was like, you know what? Love is such a magical thing, and I'm so excited about love, and I want love. I didn't know the full definition of it, but I was just like, I just want this thing called love in my life. I just want it. And then other
Right.
times I was like, man, I'm grieving, but I'm trying to ignore it. I'm not
Yeah.
being honest. I'm not, owning that this is one of the most painful times of my life. And I'm just going forward like I'm looking
Yeah.
for a husband. I'm looking for a mate. Girl, you need to sit down
Yeah.
somewhere. And so
Yeah.
for me, it was like a roller coaster. But
Yeah.
once I kept doing my healing work, it got easier. It got better.
Okay.
It got clearer. So the
Okay.
more I learned to love on myself, heal myself, honor myself, understand the choices I made, come
Mhm.
out of that winter season, grieve my mother,
Yes.
all of that, then I
Yes.
started getting a different caliber of men, a different experience. So I think people need to realize, like I realize at the end of the day, what you're attracting is a result of who you are, what you're thinking about, how you're feeling,
Yes.
what you've dealt with or not
Yes.
dealt with. It's a reflection.
Yes. You know
So,
what? I love that you use that analogy because it's just like when you have a junky house, right? And you have clutter. And I'll say clutter because everybody don't clean up.
yeah,
But it usually, if you really sit back and you kind of do an assessment, you realize that sometimes those seasons of that clutter when you just have stuff all over the place, that's how you
mhm,
feel in your real life. It's actually a reflection or a
very much.
byproduct of what you're
Mhm.
feeling internally.
Yep,
So, you know how they always say what's internal is going to eventually come out. So,
yep,
like because you feel that internally, it starts to present itself on the outside. And so I love that you said that the fact that you're grieving. And that's another thing. First of all, I am so sorry to hear about your mother. It is nothing worse than having to lose a parent. It really, especially that's your foundation. And if it was already not the best, foundation, that's hard. And
yeah,
so I applaud you that you pushed past, because people got to understand you're really just trying to fill voids, anything that feels empty. You want to feel that, and
yep,
a lot of times we fill it with things that are never going to be great for us. We may not even see it in that season. So I am so glad that you said I really had to work on me because a lot of people will say, oh my God, it's just these horrible guys out there. And, they are just, I don't know what's wrong with them. But
yep,
now you done dated 10 of them and you the only
yep.
one that's the common denominator.
That
So at
part.
some point, we have to start looking within
Yep.
because everybody can't be horrible. They can. We in the times that maybe that is a reality. But I'm saying there's somebody for everybody. So at some point, you do have to look within and find out why am I number one even attracting these guys?
Yep.
And then number two, what is it that I want to get out of love? And the biggest question I want to say or ask you, because do you think that society allow or presents a fictitious image of what love is that
Yeah.
kind of sets us up for failure from the beginning?
Yeah. Absolutely. 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 And I think that's because we have like, so I would say two things.
Hmm.
Those of us that are older and
Hmm.
we've had setbacks, reality checks, divorces, and all of that,
Yes.
it's not as much of a misrepresentation.
Yeah.
It's not because we if we are doing the work and we're really using time to mature us, we can
Yes.
see some things. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
And at the same time, if we're not willing to recognize that love is an action and not
Yes.
this now aspect
Yes.
of it, the things we see on social media, everybody's gram looking all fly and they looking like they're
Yeah.
the best couple in the world,
Right.
that will alter the reality of what we think about, because
Yes.
all of what we see isn't always what it is. And it's
Yes.
hard to really think through that and
Mhm.
be honest about it and still not be bitter. Like
Yes.
it's hard to see it as, oh, that's cool and that's really inspirational,
Yeah.
versus that's inspirational, but I don't know what's behind the scenes. So let me make
Yes.
sure that I work on what love should and could look like for me from a
Yes.
healthy place. So
Yes.
absolutely it does.
Yes.
But I think the more you mature and the more you're honest about what love, the action looks like,
Hmm. Hmm.
you're different. Because you're like,
Yes.
wait,
Yes. And
wait.
actually I love that you said that too, because I am so sorry. I apologize. Hold on. That was supposed to be on Do Not Disturb, and somehow it got lost in the sauce. But okay. But I am so glad that you said it, because what I feel like, I do have like people that I know and people that I'm associated with, and we're always talking about these beautiful romance movies, right? And everybody wants to, be whisked away, and they want to see this great guy who is willing
Yep.
to, and I am not saying that that cannot happen. I'm not. I am 29 years in the game with my husband, okay? We have been through everything under the sun, but love, like you said, it is work. So I go biblical too, right? First Corinthians chapter 13. That's that
Mhm.
favorite one where everybody like to quote it, right? First commandment of the First Corinthians 13, long suffering. Okay. And people be like, oh, okay, so what that mean in the Greek? What that mean in the Hebrew? It mean long suffering. Suffer a long time. Okay, because honestly, that is the reality of real love, right? And so it's not to negate date nights and romantic excursions, because you can have all of that. But what the realism I feel like of love is that compromise. It's that communication. It's that not wanting to one up your partner, for you to allow them to shine as opposed to you, for you
Right.
guys to give and take, because you're with someone who was raised a certain way, lived a certain way. And so, fundamentally, when you're talking about love, that compatibility really does matter. Those life goals really do matter. And being able to find someone that matches that, that
Yep.
really does matter,
Yep.
because longevity wise, you got to work for that picture perfect marriage. You
Mm.
have to put in the time, the patience, and everything else. I tease all the time, my husband and I, we met so quickly. We got married though after a year and 5 months, right?
Wow.
And yes, and but the beginning part was super quick. It was like we even signed a roommate contract. We became roommates, right? Before we even fell in love. But it went, met him, moved in with him like a couple of months later, then we got pregnant, all out of order. Then had our baby, and I'm over there trying to prolong the marriage. Like, well, I want her to be a flower girl so we can get married way later. Okay, we had already broke everything else. But anyway, my point for that is that so now comes the relationship. Honeymoon phase is gonna go away. Life is gonna happen. Children are gonna take place.
Yep.
You're gonna have to learn how to navigate, and that's the reality. So when people say, oh, I just fell out of love with somebody or whatever the case may be, it's not that. It's that everybody is going to have a transition period. So even boo cakes on the side, I hate to talk to all the side chicks in the world, but eventually they're going to get tired of you too, especially if they had to actually be in a relationship with you long
Right.
term, because you're going to end up having to deal with their issues. The only reason why you don't is because initially your time mostly is with your wife. So anything on the side is going to be extra. It's going to be fast. It's going to be quick. They're not going to know you that well. They're not vested, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And
Right.
so for that reason, even that would take work if they actually put the time into it.
No facts. No facts. Yeah, facts. I think part of why people struggle though
Hmm.
is, I do agree that some part of it is compatibility for sure. But some part of it, what I think is a big part of it, is that
Hmm.
we've just not been taught relationship skills.
That's
Like
true.
it
That's
is
true.
such a fundamental necessity and it's
Yeah,
foundational, but we just haven't been taught it.
that's
So,
true.
people come to me all the time and be like, I just need to communicate better, or,
Uh-huh.
I just need to learn to trust, or and where do we learn that where
Mhm.
it's a conscious effort? A lot of times how we learn it is through heartbreak or through
Yes.
disappointment or through
Yes.
betrayal. We learn those things and then we got to find our way back
Yes.
to a healthy place consciously versus
Mhm.
if we were just taught healthy relationship skills, boundaries, and
Yes.
what it looks like to really communicate from a healthy place and advocate for yourself and teach people how to love you because you know how to love you and then they respond in kind. So I think that's
Yes.
a big
That's
part of it.
good. Yes.
We haven't been taught that. And then on top of that, if we haven't been taught how to honor ourselves,
Yes.
we don't figure that out until 30s, 40s, 50s for some
Yes.
people.
Yes.
And
That is
that's a
so
big
true.
part of it too.
Yes, because you end up losing yourself depending
Right.
on how much you give to everybody else. And then next thing you know, you look up and you don't even remember who you were when you
Right.
first started out. And then everybody's like, oh, you're always so serious. You used to be so much fun. Really? Okay. Changing diapers, getting people through school, getting them through college. You tell me how nice you'll be after that.
Life be
Okay.
life and life is life and
Yes, and then we have to be the adults. I don't get the option of saying, "Oh, I'm adulting now." No, I had to adult early. Okay,
you're
so
right.
it's so funny, but that is so true, and you're absolutely right about that, especially in our culture too, because we do have such a skewed image of what love looks like too. Because I was raised by a single mom. To be honest with you, until I went to an HBCU, I I just kind of assumed I knew that there were like married black couples, but when I would watch the Huxtables, I didn't think that was reality. I would say,
You thought
why
that was
they
the
got these black
exception.
people? Yes. And
Mhm.
I was one of those people that said, why they got these black people acting white? I don't want to watch this. You know what I mean? Until I learned that was so ignorant, to even think that. But that's what I thought because that wasn't my reality. My
Right.
reality was a lot of single moms, you know what I mean, struggling or doing what they have to do to make ends meet. So I did not realize that we could even have a foundation. I get to college and I see the Huxtables everywhere. You know what I mean? And then I meet people, friends, they're like, okay, she ain't that refined. Don't bring her back to them. Okay. I'm
I
like,
know.
I missed that part. You know what I mean? So it is funny that how you end up seeing life through the lenses of how you live and what you're going through. That's why it is so important to get out there and just explore the world, get to know people,
Yep.
cultures,
Yep.
that way you're well rounded in what you do. So I'm looking at this and you said, remember who you are, Enterprise Incorporated. I absolutely love that. How did you birth that? Like what I love it. How did you birth that?
So I will tell you in 2007,
Okay.
my mom was newly diagnosed with cancer, maybe about 6 months.
Okay.
And I had became a caregiver, but what made it complex to me was that
Hmm.
we never had a mother-daughter relationship. So here
Okay.
I am 36 and or 30 something, I can't remember, maybe 33. I don't know, but I was in my 30s
Okay.
and I'm taking care of someone that I've had an estranged relationship for the most part. I mean, she was my mother, but I really didn't know her.
Yeah.
And the caregiving process was exhausting emotionally, spiritually, physically. I had never really had to take care of someone that I had told from day one, your mom's getting ready to die. So how you prepare for that? And this is someone
Yes.
that my whole life I had been craving to
Yes.
to love me and see me and have a relationship with me. And so long story short, I
Mhm.
was looking for the balance to help me remember who I was
Yeah.
pre her diagnosis, because
Yeah.
before her diagnosis I had all these huge dreams and was really preparing to really date and get
Yeah.
married and connect with love, and then it felt like it became like a screeching halt.
Wow.
And it was difficult because I was like, how do I take care of my mother, be there for her, but not lose myself in the process? Because I felt myself like getting more and more depressed and anxious. And because I think for me, the thought of
Mhm.
losing somebody, the doctors had said she can right die. I
Wow.
think for me that was a lot.
Of
So
course.
remember
Of
who he
course.
was more of, again, how do I, in the midst of all of this, find a
Yes.
way to anchor myself, remember who I am spiritually, physically, emotionally. And what saved me was that I learned about coaching. And the company
Amen.
became, let me give back. And in that giving back, one of my gifts was connecting with people. People have always felt like very comfortable talking to me.
Yeah.
And in my attempt to be like, let me ground myself because it's a lot.
Yes. Yes.
Do something that helps me tap in and remember who I am. And
Yeah.
then in turn, I help so many people remember who they were
I love
just
that.
by reminding them and really being that mirror of who are you spiritually because you're putting it
Yes.
down. Who are you emotionally because you're putting it down. Who are you physically because you've
Yeah.
been putting it down. And so I think helping people pick back up the gifts of who they are that they've let go of through loss or grief, or in my situation, trauma, because I had never dealt with someone with terminal anything,
Yes.
let alone like having to navigate the awareness that she was going to die.
Yes.
And both of my parents at that point would have been dead. So she was
Wow.
my second parent. So
I'm
I
so
think that
sorry to hear
all of
that.
that, I was like, no, I got to do something. I got to remember who I am. And that's
Yes.
how I started.
And you know what? That is so, it's just like God to bring, when circumstances are right there, in the midst. Sometimes it's through the greatest tragedies that we become what He is created us to be,
Mhm.
because I always hold on to, before you were even formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. And so I get goosebumps every time I hear that, because I think about just how unique and important I am to Him. And so in doing that, I kind of take, like those um uh the big broad view of what I've been through. And so I'll
Mhm.
think about some of the darkest times in my life. Those were the times, and I can think of one in particular that is always going to be inside of me, that I knew there was a God. Like there was nobody else that could have gotten me through this particular time, but it was at the deepest,
Mhm.
darkest, hit rock bottom situation that
Wow.
I could fathom. So I'm so just appreciative of what I go through, because then it is for such a time as this. I had to endure those things so that I can be relatable, because
Yeah.
if we're going to spread the good news, we
Mhm.
we have to be able to identify
Yeah,
people,
for
get
sure.
mad. Yeah, they
For
get mad
sure.
with God, they get angry. Life is going to shift. You got to understand ebbs and flows. And it's so funny. I don't know what made me talk about that, but I do love the fact that this love thing is so important, and it's so powerful, and it's so life changing, and it's so needed today. Um, I don't know if you heard breaking news today, because one of the Miss USA North Carolina, she just got dethroned because of racist comments,
Oh yeah.
allegedly. Let me put
Mhm.
that word in here,
Mhm.
because I don't want to get sued. I just got started. So, but allegedly, she had all of these N words, this and that.
Yes.
So I say that to say this is where we've gotten to in this world. Like the pageant queen, I'm a national title holder,
Mhm.
of an independent pageant.
Yep.
2020. Let me add that,
Yep.
Miss US Majesty Woman 2020. But look, I
Okay.
don't have look. You can't buy the show. We didn't record it, but anyway, it was good. It was good. But I say all that to say we're at times where the pageant queen is mad, she angry, everybody's bitter. So love is more important than people thinking. Like you said, not just romantic love. It is awesome when people can get together, but first loving yourself, like
Mhm.
forgiving yourself for things that you feel like you've done, or haven't done in life. And
Right.
so that transitions me into the love camp. I'm all like, soon as I saw that in the bio, I was like, what, the love camp? I can't wait to talk. So I want to know how that evolved into an actual thing. Okay.
I'm gonna tell you, I think that the divine has always just walked with me and ordered my steps more than I realized.
Amen.
Because I shared with you how I just love, didn't know what to do with it.
Uh-huh.
So the love camp was really like a kind of a off the cuff experience, meaning I went to Tanzania, and I went to Tanzania to go on an investment tour. And
Okay.
while I was there, me and some of the other, one of my best friends and the facilitator of the tour, we were just all talking about how the Black woman right now is the highest group of women that are uncoupled, and we were
Correct.
talking about some of the things that we go through and some of the painful experiences. And I just happened to say, man, yeah, because I'm a former serial dater, and I just would love for us to find more healthy love. And
Love
so the facilitator, she was the founder of the tour company,
it.
she was
Hmm.
like, tell me more. What you saying? And I'm just talking. And she said, you know what? We should come back next year and have our first tour. It should be like we were talking about, we were like the love camp. And I said, I agree, because we need to do something to solve this problem. I did not
Hmm.
think a year later it would
Wow.
turn into such a powerful company. And so this
Oh,
was in 2022.
okay.
Yep. And
Okay.
then we looked up, less than a year later, we went back, and our very first experience tour retreat was in Tanzania, and we would birth from there. So it
Wow.
came out of a need to do two things.
Hmm.
One, solve the high rate of uncoupled Black women. Because I was like, we are so smart and so beautiful and so
Yes.
worthy of love. And I was like, I don't want to sit and just watch it and not
Yeah.
do something about it.
Yeah.
And two, I was exhausted with hearing Black men and women go at it with each other. All
Yes.
you hear is it's
Yes.
his fault, it's her fault,
Yeah.
they this, they that. And I was like, listen, at the end of the day, we need to kill all that noise and
Yes.
really connect as one and talk through the differences we have, because us being at odds with each other is definitely not going to help us, and is not
Yes.
going to help the state that we're in, particularly in this country right now.
Yes. Yes.
We need to be more united and more connected. And so
Yes.
it was really out of, I love my folks. I love people that look like me. Don't mean I don't love anybody else, but I know that
Yes.
for me, I've always wanted us to have more love, more compassion.
Yes.
And
Yes.
for me, this was my way of saying I can help bring a difference in
Yes.
our community, because I'm exhausted with hearing the stats. And I
Yes.
know women that look like me are worthy of healthy love.
Yes.
I know that our men and women are worthy of connecting and seeing and hearing each other and healing with each
Yes.
other. And that's
Yes.
how it started. It's my love. The love camp is truly my love letter to the Black community. It
I love
truly is.
that. I love that. And it's so important because, one of the things that I said that I was going to do as a talk show host, we deal with uncomfortable topics, all the time, but I was always, prayerfully going to bring things up in a very respectful, non-confrontational way.
Right.
And I have a plethora of different cultures in my life, people who I love. I am not a person that judges by your skin color. I am truly about the content of your character, right? I got a biracial son, okay? So it doesn't get any more, loving than that. I want to put that out there before I make this disclaimer.
Correct.
But what I want to do more than anything else in the world is to abolish the propaganda that the world has put out there about Black women. I cannot stand the we're aggressive, we're assertive, we're this, we're that, to the fact that they don't even know where that comes from. And a lot of this is historical for our people when we were enslaved. A
Mm,
lot of that division started during that time. And what people do not understand about it, they created that division, and it's still things that we deal with today. We still fussing about light skin, dark skin, natural hair, not natural hair, BBLs, no BBL. You know what I'm saying? And in the
mhm.
scheme of things, not being funny, but especially with our new administration, we all one group to them. You know what I'm saying? So I say
That
all of
part.
that.
Mhm.
Yes, so I say all of that respectfully, that it is the season for us to get our house in order, and
Yeah.
for people to not think we're divided on everything, because we're not. A lot of us are coming together, doing the things that we need to do, and you are doing that. The love camp is a true representation of what that needs to look like, starting with ourselves, starting with true sisterhoods. I don't have a lot of female Black friends, honestly, that where we're just completely trustworthy with one another. That needs to
Mhm.
change. We're
Yeah.
sisters, we're alike. We have the same ancestral, DNA to some extent. And so that in and of itself should allow us to, to lift each other's up, to straighten up crowns, to not always feel, like we have to compete with one another. So when I say that love component is so important across the board, it is so, needed. And so I'm just, hats off to you, kudos to you, thank you to you for
Mm,
even coming up with this, because it cannot be easy, because we all have, just these innate baggage, I'll call it that has sat with
mm,
all of us in some degree, some
mhm.
way, shape, or form. We've been formed by the things we've been through. So when
Correct.
they say aggressive and assertive, we say we don't have a choice. It's
Mhm.
either put up or shut up. You know what I'm saying? We have to grind even when we haven't wanted to grind. And that is nothing to be ashamed about, to be strong, but not to the point where we're not hurting, or we're not suffering, or we don't want our knight in shining armor, because I know we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I definitely agree with you. I would just add a caveat to it.
Hmm.
In my experience,
Hmm.
unfortunately, there are sisters that look like you and I
Hmm.
that have not healed their love blockages.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, those love blockages do cause them to show up in a way that is not their authentic self.
Yeah.
At the same time, there needs to be an accountability for them to be honest about, hey, I am contributing to the experiences and the life circumstances I'm having. It's not
Yeah.
all out there that's
Yeah.
causing
Yeah.
it. I have to be able to own my contribution. And if it's out of pain, fear,
Yes.
disappointment, I get it. We can own
Yeah.
that too. And we can love on you and not
Yeah.
shame you and not make you a bad person. But we also have to be able, this is what our men too, we have to be able to own our contribution to why and how
Yeah.
things are the way they are. And I'm a
Amen.
big advocate of, I'm gonna love on you hard
Hmm.
because you are so worthy, but I'm also gonna love on you and challenge you with, if
Hmm.
in a way that you're showing up because you have not dealt with your stuff. You have
Oof.
not been honest about how the trauma affected you. You have not been honest about how you felt truly portrayed and neglected and deserted. You have not been honest about
Mm.
the pain that really has now caused you to take it out on a lot of men that you
Yeah.
really frustrated with that man, but now
Yes.
all these men are getting it. You haven't been
Mm.
so
I
I
love
do,
that.
while I love on us hard, I
Hmm.
love on us also enough to be honest with us and say this is
Yes.
something we have to fix. Because if you don't work on your love blockages, but you say it's all the men, and deep inside you truly want love, but
Hmm.
you're not courageous enough to do the work, then you're
Mm.
not going to get the same results you're asking for. And it's the same with our brothers. Like, it can't
Mhm.
be all of them. It can't be every black woman is bad.
Yes.
It has to be, you have to take a chance to look at yourself as well. So that's
That's
how I
good.
advocate for us,
That's
to be
good. And I
honest with
love that. Yes, and I love that because that is powerful for us to
them.
be able. That's the only way you're going to heal and move forward, to be honest with
Correct.
you. You have got to be able to handle the things of the past. And so now in the season that we're in today, what is it that you do, as it relates to, relationships and going forward, today?
So I am a big advocate on helping people to answer this one fundamental question.
Hmm.
What would it look like if you had the most amazing relationship with love? I.e., you knew how to trust, you knew how to communicate in a healthy way, you knew how to honor your feelings, you knew how to be vulnerable when it mattered most. If you
Hmm.
knew how to practice what I call the seven factors of love, what would your life look like? That's the question I help people answer in action, starting with yourself first and then
Yes.
with another. And that looks like coaching, retreats. We're getting ready to start a new membership, um,
Oh,
curated date nights for couples, and
oh,
also those intensives in the DMV area where people are like, man, we in trouble and
yes.
we want to keep going further down this road, but we need some
Yes.
tools. So we provide a myriad of solutions for your relationship goals.
I love that. I love that. And for me, honestly, it looks just like I live today. I am so thankful and grateful for every challenge because in our marriage, when we hit our stumbling point, I literally had in my mind that I just didn't have a good husband. I really
Mm,
believed that. I felt like he was conditional. I felt like, we could never communicate well. I felt like at some points, I felt like maybe he's trying to be too controlling. Like these
mm,
were all of the images, right, that were in my head. And one thing I will say, the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, I think, more in relationships than anything because that's the foundation, right?
mm,
That's how we, grow families. And we, the perfect world of God was to have the family be the strong foundation and be able to send those, people out and give the good news of everybody on what, how we live. And so one day I literally was in my foolishness because I was making excuses for why things weren't going well. And this was in 2019, right?
okay,
2019, right?
okay.
COVID, right? 2020, right? And look, we couldn't go nowhere. Okay, so
I'm
look,
just going to
uh,
say, you and so many other people were going through the same
so
thing.
look, COVID was either gonna make or break that marriage. Okay,
That
I don't
part.
care what nobody say
And it
because
broke a lot of
it
marriages.
did. It did because at that point, you didn't have an outlet anymore. See, a lot of marriages survive because you talk junk. I'm just going to go shopping. I'm going to go with my girls. I'm going to go
Right.
fly somewhere. I don't have to deal with your
That
foolishness.
was me.
Yeah,
Mhm,
and then when we get to the house, hey, how you doing, boo? We didn't put a
mhm.
band-aid over an open
Right.
wound and we just keep it moving. Guess
Right.
what Colbert said? Go out that door if you want to. Everybody
Correct.
was scared they was about to die. They was around people who were dying all,
Yeah.
everywhere. You had to stay put. Okay, so let me
You had to
tell you,
talk.
uh, uh,
You had to
you didn't have
interact.
no, listen, yes, you didn't have no kind of outlet, right? So I heard it so clear. God, I heard this year your obedience is gonna be better than your sacrifice. I want to hear
Mm,
nothing about no sacrifice. You're gonna be obedient this year, right? So the first step to that was dealing with me. You know,
mm,
is he the one that got the issue, or is it me? Because look, during that season, I was starting to feel myself. I was in momentum. My little show was look. That's why I say the little show was taking off, doing a little something, something. I started getting DMs. I thought
mm,
I was cute. You know what I mean?
mm.
Like
And
all
you
of these
probably was
things.
very cute. I'm just saying.
Look, I wasn't low and cute though. Okay, look, it's a difference.
There is a
But
difference.
I really started taking in because like you said, you there was one thing that you said in the beginning of our interview that really I could relate to. You said you felt invisible. And so did I. Not that I even wanted any attention. That wasn't the invisible that I was talking about. The invisible part was me not even knowing who I am, so I'm invisible because I don't even exist. Because who is Angela? She's not there. I used to be just fun and loved life and had, friends that I cared about. But pain and trauma and dealing with all of these bad relationships, it hardened me. And so I know even in that little bit of a time frame in this entertainment business, it is a doggy dog world.
Mhm.
And I don't care what level, I felt like I wasn't even doing anything, but you still had those people that were gunning for you because what you may think somebody sees you for, it,
Yep.
it could be totally like you may be thinking, what would they want to be this for? Because they may see something that you don't. See, they
Right.
may see you laughing and smiling and they don't feel that way. And
Right.
so I realized even too meeting people. So there's a game that gets played in this entertainment world. So a lot of times I learned this late. I always just say what's on my mind. I have never been one of those kind of people that, now in Rome, I do what Romans do. I ain't gonna be just cutting up somewhere, but
Mm.
I don't play games. I don't do pretense. And a
Gotcha.
lot of times in this industry, that's what they're used to. So you get lumped in with everybody else. So even though you may be kind and have absolutely no motive, you're looked at differently.
Right.
And so for me, it was that thing of just dealing with all of this pressure that came with the world and then feeling like I'm growing. How many times you done heard we growing apart? We
Mm.
growing apart, you
Yeah.
know?
All the
And
time.
yeah, and it wasn't that we were growing apart. It was that I wasn't honoring what needed to be honored because I felt like I was here and he's here.
Mm.
Down here, I'm up here. I'm growing,
Mhm.
I'm going. He's not. No, we needed to sit and talk together. So when the
Absolutely.
communication, girl, that was the hardest thing for me to do. But let me tell you, I'm gonna say this, and I know he wouldn't mind me saying this. The day that I realized how horrible I was, and the day that I took accountability for that, I
Wow.
went to my husband and I said, I love you more than anything in the world. My dream
Mm.
was to have a mate that just wanted to spend time with me, want to be his boo cakes, want to take care of me. I had that, but I was looking for something else because I didn't know that I was deficient. And so
I
one day
love
I'm
that.
yeah, I'm praying and I'm like, Holy Spirit's like, all your husband want to do is be with you. You call him aggravating, but he just want to spend time with you. That's what you asked for. You asked for a knight in shining armor. He'll do anything for you. He just asked for a little compromise. You're not even willing to do that. And I that hit me heavy. Cause remember, couldn't go nowhere.
Right.
So I went to him one
You was
day.
deep in thought.
Look, stuck. Like Chuck. And I told myself when I got married, it was only going to be one time. And I meant that. For better or for worse, I have to figure it out. And that day, I came to him and I held his hand and I said, you are amazing. And all I can say is, I am so sorry,
Mm.
for who I've been to you, how I've been to you. And if you give me one chance, I said, I know you through with me. I know you tired of me. I said, but if you give me one chance, I will prove to you how much I love you. And that's been it. But okay, we've been on it ever since.
Can I
Now,
tell you how powerful that is? Because, first of all, it's rare that people will allow their egos to get pushed to the side
yeah,
and be that vulnerable, that transparent, that humble, so
yeah,
that things can turn around. We work with the Love Camp, we work with couples all the time. And
hmm,
just trying to get people to have a fraction of what you just, a fraction
amen.
is very difficult because once people dig their heels in and they feel justified and indignant with
Yeah.
who they are, and it's not them, it's them over there, it's
Yeah.
hard for them to come back sometimes. And so the
Yes.
fact that you took that kind of time to be self-aware, which is a huge part of healthy love too,
Amen. It
I just
is.
really, I commend you on that, and really great to hear that you guys came out of that,
Yes.
because more
Yes.
couples need to hear that. I may have you on our podcast because
Hey, listen, I
we
will
need
do
that.
it. I will do it.
Yeah.
It was, but you know what was so funny? It was so freeing when I
Mhm.
finally got through it. Like, I don't know why we have this image in our head that if we show a little vulnerability, I think that we've just been kind of raised to think that that's weakness. I think, in
Mhm.
a sense, at least that's how I've, understood it. So, don't let no man this and that. And you better always have some money on the side, just all of those things.
Right.
It's like, for me, I was taught separation before I even got together. And so
Mhm.
those things stay in your head
Right.
throughout your whole relationship. But it
Right.
was such a freeing thing. Like, now, and that took our relationship to another level, because even in our biggest arguments that we still have, okay,
Mhm.
and I just want to
Mhm.
be realistic, none of
Yep.
that stopped. But we'll sit back and be like, hold on, pump your brakes. You getting, chill it. Chill, don't say it. Don't say it before you. And then, we literally can talk ourselves out of a pride moment,
Right.
and then we'll tell ourselves,
That's
and
beautiful.
I love it how we'll break it down, because I know me, I be trying to be slick, like, so I'm not trying to be funny or anything. When I start like that, it kind of get me out the doghouse. So, them some little nuggets for somebody out there.
Yeah. I love that. Yes.
Yeah, but
Such
I love.
beautiful. Or I don't mean any harm, but can I ask you a question? Like,
Yes.
having
Yes.
those
Yes.
tools.
Yes. Because especially when you're about to blow up. So there's just little things that I realized from that point to now. And also, we trust each other. And I think that that's a very hard thing, for people to just give like this unlimited trust, especially when the trust has been broken. So
Correct.
just imagine when it's not broken, you still have like this timidness about just giving yourself to somebody. But I promise you, anything that you just give and you give freely, most times you're going to be good. And even if there's a painful moment, what
Mm.
I realize about every trauma in our life, if you think about it, we didn't got through it. And we're actually okay. We're still laughing. We're breathing. In the
That
moment,
part.
we might have not felt, yeah, we might have not felt that at that time. But when you can get through it, man, it is something to. So now I have this confidence. We can go anywhere. I don't have issues with women around, because we live in Atlanta. Okay,
Mm.
hot Atlanta still be trying to act hot. They don't care nothing about no married couples. Okay, so you have to know who you are to be here. I
Yeah.
don't have no problem. He could see 20 peaches, period. He don't
Yeah.
even focus on that. Like,
Yes.
things just change, man, when you're in a good relationship. You know what I mean? They
Right.
just change. You don't play. And even times where I remember in my little foolishness, and I would kind of like, people would know like the right thing to say. And you know how you kind of entertain them. But, we women know what we be doing. Okay, I don't care what they
It's
tell you.
true.
When a dude asks a certain question, we know how to answer it to have them think about something like that. We play like we don't know, but we know.
It's true.
And and so I've, learned how to just shut that down altogether. I don't
Yeah.
even do the key no more, because that just was an ego driven thing that I've overcome. So when I tell you, we have come a long way, but it is so good to have gone through these things, because I don't think we would be as happy as we are
Yeah.
today.
I
You
love
know what I
that.
mean? Yeah,
I,
we
I
had
think that's
to.
such a beautiful, powerful story, because we hear a lot of what hasn't worked with COVID, and
Yeah.
how folks were stressed out, and divorce rates was skyrocketing, or
Yeah.
separations. And so to hear the other side of it
And
is
we made it.
refreshing, because we don't hear enough of those. Like,
I
people
know
are
you don't.
frustrated in those COVID streets, or COVID
Yeah.
houses, we should say.
Yeah. Yeah, because we don't have a lot of married couples,
Mhm.
that we can hang out with. So you're right. It's actually a blessing to know we got through it, and it was a difficult time.
Yeah.
So what is there anything you want to tell our audience about anything that you have upcoming, any projects that you want them to know about? Also, as we're getting ready to close out, please tell them how they can follow you and how they can get the information about the love camp. Because listen, I'm coming. I'm coming to
Love,
one of them.
the love camp. Absolutely. So they can locate us at thelovecamp.co, not
Okay.
.com, .co.
Okay, that's CO. Okay.
And we are currently getting ready to open up our membership. So our membership
All
should be
right.
open up in another 30 days. And the membership is really for folks that are ready to have a community with
Uh-huh.
tips and experts and how do you keep it spicy and all things relationships. And it's
I
not
love
just for
it.
couples, but we're starting with couples because couples are one of our larger groups of the Black women versus the couples.
Yes.
But right now, we're also preparing to have our annual Gatlinburg retreat. We
Oh,
have a retreat up in the mountains. Like you want to be in nature and really have some
okay.
relationship skills with some beautiful folks that look like us. Join us for Gatlinburg. But we
Okay.
also have Sedona coming up. And then finally, we're preparing for our annual women's retreat to Bali. So we go
Oh,
to Bali every year. This year, we actually took a hiatus only because
okay.
we're planning for a bigger retreat and we've put different, more things in place. And
Okay.
so we'll be going to Bali in April of 2027. So
All right.
you are ready to do some self love work that's spiritual in a beautiful environment, I would say join us in Bali in April. And all the details are on our website about all things I mentioned.
I love that. Okay, so that is wonderful. And that is the
Yep.
lovecamp.co.
Yep.
Awesome. Now, real quick, before we go, what do you tell to the single,
What do I tell to the what?
to the single woman, for
Okay.
the singles out there?
So I say to them, because the work that I do is very important for them as well, I say a
Yes.
few things. Always get in touch with what you need to heal, who you need to have love in your life. Like, do
Mm,
you need to be more open, more vulnerable, more honest? Like, who do you need to be? What
yes.
experiences do you want to create on this love journey? A lot of times people are so frustrated with meeting the wrong people, with having experiences that feel like they can't trust, they can't love, blah, 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 the whole, et cetera, et
Yes.
cetera. But
Yes.
what experiences do you want to have? Because they'll tell you quick what they don't want, but I want you to
Yes.
tell me what you do want.
Love
And then
that.
finally, who do you want to connect with? What's the vision look like? How does he treat you versus what does he look like? How much money he makes? What career he has? Because
Wow.
I think that if they focus on the depth of love,
Hmm. Hmm.
the superficial aspect of it will go away, and I believe that they will get both.
I
Because if you're
love
treated
that.
well and you connect well, you
Yes.
will pick somebody that also resonates with you and has some of the things you want. But
Yes.
don't go backwards. Don't focus on what he has and what he looks like, but meanwhile
Yes.
he treats you like crap. Those
Yes.
are the things that I tell women because it's really a spiritual journey. It's one part
Yes.
spiritual and one part physical. And
Yes.
the spiritual part is I think what people miss.
Yes. Yes. And I think that that's why it's important too, not to, rain on anybody's parade, but abstinence really is golden, to be honest with you, because it puts you, whether men admit it or not, it puts you in a different value setting.
It does.
Anything that a man can get easily usually is the bologna, okay?
Yeah.
But it's rare that he get that steak, that he can marinate. It's gonna cost a couple of bucks. That's some value. Anything he gotta chase is valuable. And so I say that too to the singles, and I even, mention too, like, I know we have grown up in a season of sex sales, and the sexier you are, to whatever, but sometimes to cover up and have mystery, that sells too. You know what I'm saying?
It
And
does.
that sells long lasting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, it puts, and it all depends on the man. Let me just say that, because you know you're gonna get the people that's like, I'm not, like, I want my shorty to be this and that. Well, we know you got all kind of problems and
Right.
issues going on. You just feed an ego anyway, so sit down. We talk about some real quality gentlemen, okay?
Right. Right.
But they're only gonna value what they see is valuable. And
Correct.
if you naked walking around the world, you know, everything just out, that's all you got. Like, and that's another thing that I really want people who love themselves to equate to this season of their life. The tangibles are just that. They're tangibles. The BBLs, they go away. The wrinkles, they come in. As you get older, even though black don't crack, it's gonna eventually get some lines up in it. Okay. So,
Right.
you
Right.
know, I think people need to get real about those things, because it's only, breasts are only gonna, you know, sit up ever so, you know, so long in life. At the end of the day, if there's no substance, there's nothing left, you know.
Right.
So just make sure you're, that part of your value system is really believing yourself to be valuable, and you will
Exactly.
be accordingly. Some of the most beautiful women in the world have all of this, you know, all of these things that they feel like are going to get them what they need, but at the end of the
True.
day, men really don't care about that stuff. Honestly,
Yeah.
they really don't. You know what I
And you know
mean?
what? I can agree with you. I would add to that 3,000%. What I would say also is that I would remind them that they teach people how to treat them.
How to ooh, you better
So if
say it.
you are showing up in a way that says, I don't respect myself, I don't value
Yeah.
myself, I don't trust myself,
Yeah.
and it shows,
Yes.
that's what you're teaching people on how you are to be treated and how you
Yes.
feel about yourself. And
Yeah.
sometimes I
Yeah.
think that's the biggest thing that we could do for ourselves is learn how to teach people how to treat us based on how we treat ourselves. And I'm
Yes.
not talking about from
Yes.
vanity. I'm talking about like
Just
truly
period.
honoring.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
Because you know what's so funny too? It's kind of like an oxymoron, right? So you'll get a woman who, you know, she'll dress provocatively, everything showing, leave nothing to the imagination. But the minute you say you a H, they mad. They
Right.
ready to fight. They feel disrespected. Where we do that at? Like,
Right.
and I say that to say you call a spade, but they don't even like to be talked about like that. I have seen reality shows with women who done slept with a million of men. And then they get mad when they called the H word. Like they, like that's, you don't call me that, this and that, but you're a pro. Sometimes a man won't, so a novice
Yeah.
as much as possible. You know, they don't value pros most of the time, and that's just real talk. So, you know, if you care about that, do something about that, and that does start internally. It really
That is
does.
eternal. Yeah,
Yes.
that's definitely eternal.
Listen, Renee, I don't even want to get off of this line because I have had an absolute joy. It is, like I said, what you're doing, it is truly a movement. And I really, I know and I believe that you're going to continue to bless women all around the world. I'm
Me
just so thankful.
too.
But I know I'm going to have you back. So we're going to talk about it, especially in the retreat for Bali. Let's get back on here maybe at the beginning of the year and talk about, you know,
Okay.
what to look forward to for that, and what has, you know, happened since that time, because this, my friend, is very important.
Well, thank you
So
so much for having me. Absolute pleasure. I loved every bit of the conversation.
thank you so much. So, listen, guys, we finished another show today. Thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, for those of you that didn't get a chance to talk to us, I'm sure y'all are in Friday Atlanta traffic. It's bad. We done had storms, so I know y'all are just, you know, frustrated. But guess what? This is on demand. So you can watch it absolutely anytime that you want to, right here on the Angela Foxworth Show on YouTube. And don't forget, in December, okay? We did this show live, but in December, this is going to be on my full distribution network. That's right, I'm a part of two of them. So you could see us on Hulu, Freebie, Pluto TV, boo boo. We're going to be on Roku. We're going to be on Substack. We're going to be on Spotify. That's coming in December. See, I actually am launching the show in December, but I decided to get a you know, a fresh start, a jump start, and I decided to do those jump start interviews live. So this is not the only place people are going to be blessed with your information. So that's why I'm just elated. We are full distribution, baby, and that was the goal. So remember, tune in every time you see a new show. Check us out on demand anytime. And remember, life with Dave Fox is truly living outside the box. And I am always interviewing with a purpose. You guys have an absolutely wonderful weekend, and I will see you soon.